I ain't gonna lie, we got a bit of an interesting video. Cause low-key, I wanted to watch this because Cordae, in my opinion, in terms of rapping ability, rapping stability, whatever you want to say, is one of the best rappers right now, bro. Like, he's better than your favorite rapper, bro. I'm telling you. Like, there's nothing you could tell me that'll change my mind that says Cordae is not better than one of your favorite rappers. No rapper's freestyling like him. Nobody is as lyrical as him. Nobody. I'm not talking about the J. Coles, the Kendricks, the freaking Biggies, the Tupac. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about... You know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about, bro. We got why hip-hop doesn't respect Cordae. Cordae is one of my favorite artists. We finna find out, bro. We finna find out. Let's get right into it.
Doing what I'm supposed to. Why you acting brand new? Girl, I want the old you. All these hoes in my DM, but somehow I chose you. I can tell that something's wrong. Girl, you know I know you.
I'm very interested to see what they're about to say in this video.
This video is brought to you by Keeps.com. Stay tuned to find out more.
Cordae is the epitome of having all the skills necessary, having all the cosigns necessary, but not having a story that the people buy into. Let me just give you an example. Kendrick is great, but that Good Kid, Mad City album, it laid the foundation for why people will always be connected to Kendrick.
That album, fire.
That's what I believe is still missing from Cordae's story.
Why being Cordae, he reminds me of J. Cole, which is, you're a great rapper, and he has a great ear for beats, but I didn't walk away being like, damn, I need to rush back and see what else gonna do. The whole time I'm just like, all right, that was cool. Okay, that's cool too. All right, that's cool. But by the end of it, I was like, okay, I know what his lane is, and I'm not sure if he's ever gonna leave that lane or make that lane any better than it already is.
Perhaps more so than any other genre, hip-hop has been notoriously wary of a squeaky clean image. While that doesn't mean you can't be conscious or expose wisdom, the rap game has an intense wariness for those who come off as though they know better, whether it be pretentiousness, preachy, or worst of all, corny, i.e. Chance the Rapper, Logic, Dax, and Hobson. But if any rapper...
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Dax comes off so corny, bro. Like, don't get me wrong. Dax can rap his ass off, bro. He can rap his ass off. He got the lyricism and all that. But that nigga, like, I don't know what it is about his music. It's just, it don't hit, like, at all.
Rapper seems to be flying too close to the sun in this regard. It's Cordae. As a 24-year-old rapper with 3 gold singles, a top 20 debut album, his own recently unveiled record label, a superstar sports person girlfriend, and an undeniable lyrical acumen to his name, the young MC from Maryland has plenty of things going for him. With that being said, one thing that he doesn't necessarily have is the resounding support of hip-hop. In the year and a half since his debut album, The Lost Boy, arrived, the discourse around Cordae has ranged from those who are bowled over by his ability to appear wise beyond his years, to others who feel as though he's towing a dangerous line. Described as everything from a J. Cole clone and the next Logic to preachy, corny, and straight mid, hip-hop forums have made their distrust for what Cordae is peddling all too evident. In fact, some particularly militant users have claimed that the fact that he couldn't even get a hit with a Roddy Ricch and Cole Bennett stimulus is a sign that there's a ceiling on his potential. Here, we're going to break down exactly why Cordae has sparked such anger among certain sections of hip-hop, and more importantly, pinpoint what it'll take for him to overturn this almost hostile indifference that he's facing. From out the gate, Cordae presented himself as a student of the game that didn't fixate on one particular time period, but analyzed everything in order to take what worked best for him.
But we have this like really cool thing called YouTube and the recommended section. So that's kind of how I got into hip hop. YouTube recommended section. You can get lost in there. Eminem, Big L, Nas, those the GOATs right there. Those like my top 3.
After honing his craft during his younger days under the name of Entendre, the teenage rapper's career will be given a new lease on life when he linked up with Namir and Almighty J to become the newest member of the YBN crew. Soon,
I ain't gonna lie, Namir most definitely made Cordae to who he is. I'm not gonna sit here and cap. He most definitely is. Without Namir, Cordae would not be here right now. Like, at the spot that he is, Cordae would not be there.
enough, 2018 became a breakout year for him off the back of his freestyle over Eminem's My Name Is,
that
and the
shit
headline
was
grab
fire.
in response to J. Cole's
That
1995.
shit was fire too.
Seen as an insightful rapper that could bridge hip-hop's supposed generational gap, the newest member of the Los Santos formed crew was quickly given platforms to tell his story, and from the outset, it was clear that he had big plans.
Did you always feel like you had something special about you that was going to allow you to be successful or even to be a rapper specifically?
Yeah, bro. I always knew that, like, but I just wouldn't ever press the issue. I'm a real believer in, like, divine timing and, like, manifestations. So I just knew it was coming. Like, I guess from that leading on to this, just my plans now is just, like, to be the greatest ever.
Launched into the world by his response to Cole, it's notable that Cordae has yet to release a video that's exceeded the views of old. But that didn't stop him from releasing his debut album, The Lost Boy, in July of 2019. Here, we can begin to chart where the now familiar sentiments around Cordae began to pick up steam.
I gotta
Referred
to
to as
album.
Occasionally corny and self-serious by Pitchfork, they conceded that it was still an example of a star slowly finding his voice and bursting into the mainstream. While, in the eyes of Anthony Fantano, he had this to say about Cordae. Alright, so I want to take a quick break to thank our friends at Keeps.com. For anyone that's was also prepared, they can get 50 prescription. The video.
He's going to need to do something to come into his own a little bit more going forward, because there are multiple points on this album where he is really wearing his influences on his sleeve, many of which sound to be very contemporary. There are moments on this project where Cordae doesn't sound too far off stylistically from some very early Kendrick. The track Bad Idea featuring Chance the Rapper sounds pretty much just like a Chance the Rapper song featuring YBN Cordae. I think this thing is a pretty solid debut. It has a lot of very good things going for it, and in a way at this point in his career, Cordae does remind me of the promise and the talent that Logic was showing this early on. However, I would put money on Cordae going down not nearly as corny or as disappointing a path as Logic has over the course of his career.
While Anthony...
I ain't gonna lie, I don't believe Logic deserves the hate and all the things that he got, because Logic is talented, bro. Like, he really is. Like, I don't know. This is something about him. It was just...
held out hope for Cordae finding his own identity, it's clear that some people don't share Anthony's optimism. And when you consider that one of the album's lead singles featured Chance, and his first big tour came as a support act for Logic, it's safe to say that the artist that he aligned himself with may have caused some fans to subliminally view Cordae in the same unfavorable light. Left without a concrete sense of what he brought to the table, the issue of who he associated himself with was only compounded when the cosigns for Cordae started flying in. Because in the eyes of many fans, they weren't yet earned, which led them to speculate that maybe he might even be a dreaded industry plant. Endorsed by everyone from Eminem to Dre to Cole, Pusha T, and Drake, Cordae was receiving universal praise by artists from across hip-hop. And by the time that he was crafting his 2021 EP, Just Until, Cordae was adding more of hip-hop's most esteemed figures to his gallery of supporters. Throughout this quarantine, Q-Tip has been one of my mentors. He told XXL in July. And Young Thug is really the same way. We got a couple of other joints together, but a lot of times, we just be in the studio just kicking it and chopping it up. It's always real love. The song, bro. Thug is really my homie. Seemingly armed with the whole hip-hop establishment behind him, this would generally be seen as a positive. But given that he was still an unproven commodity, who was more used to receiving comparisons to other MCs than he was being praised for his originality, the expectation that he should be something more almost hindered more than it helped. Team that with his affiliation to MCs on whom public opinion was souring, such as Logic and Chance the Rapper, who he later admitted that he would call...
Bro, like, the nigga is way better than Logic and Chance the Rapper, though, in my opinion. And he sound like what he's doing is different than how they... Like, Chance the Rapper to me is ass, and Logic is just... misunderstood, I guess. I don't know, but Cordae to me, it's like it's different. Like I wouldn't put him in the same bracket as a Logic, a Chance the Rapper, a Dax that do with the freaking white eye contacts and whatever. Like I wouldn't put him in that same category.
Call for advice, and suddenly a gap emerged between who Cordae was and the artist his contacts would suggest him to be. After all, hip-hop is a contrarian culture, meaning that when everyone shoves something down its throat, its first response is to often throw it out. And when you consider that so many of the MCs that were backing him had cut their teeth in a different era, it was seen by some fans as confirmation that Cordae's music and message isn't necessarily resonating with the youth who, in modern times, are hip-hop's primary consumers. While his sudden embrace by the hip-hop status quo already raised a few eyebrows, the news that he was leaving Almighty Jay and Namir in the dust only intensified the online backlash. As by doing so, it created the YBN Namir-sponsored narrative that he'd left his crew behind at the first sign of better opportunities. In an interview with Genius, Cordae discussed the blows that he took by stepping away from the clique that helped him make his name.
I remember when I dropped YBN, it wasn't a popular thing at the time. You know, I was getting killed online. And I got tough skin, like, this is just what come with the game. You know, I don't be tripping off anything. Obviously, it go without saying, there ain't nothing against Namir and Jay. Like, you know, before I came to the conclusion that, I was going to drop the 3 letters, I called Namir and I asked for his blessing.
You know, that was what was most important to me. I didn't care what anybody else think.
Later down the line, Namir owned up to his part in smearing Cordae's name and admitted that his feelings had gotten in the way of the real story.
I put it on the internet.
I ain't gonna lie. Everybody knows Namir made Cordae. We all know if it wasn't for Namir, Cordae would not be in the position that he would be in, and so forth, and so on and so forth. But we know that.
And that's where it f***ed up at when you put it on the internet. It ruined the whole image of everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, we all brothers.
Despite weathering all the strikes against him, Cordae has still found himself in an uphill battle in terms of proving to the public that each charge against him, ranging from a lack of originality to disloyalty, has no basis in reality. Wherever possible, it seems like he's doing whatever he can to prove that he has good intentions not only for hip-hop, but for the world at large. From getting arrested at a BLM protest, to heading out to Harvard to talk to students about his journey, Cordae hopes to uplift the world around him, rooting out injustice or inequality wherever he sees it.
Like, not even just the music wise. Like, I mess with him as a person, the things that he be trying to do and the things that he support. Like, he seemed like just a cool dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? A supportive dude. Like, a dude who's out here just trying to make a difference in some type of way, who wanted to make a voice to himself so he can make a change in some type of way. Like, the same way that I'm trying to do low key.
So much so that he even linked up with Disney to provide HBCU scholarships to those in underprivileged communities. Young people are the future of our society and the world, Cordae said during his announcement. So we must do all we can to ensure that they are properly positioned to succeed. If I could spark the brain of a few future world leaders and geniuses, I'll die a happy man. A commendable viewpoint to take on the world, Cordae counterbalances his dreams of a better society with plans to enter the ranks of the greatest to ever pick up the mic, telling XXL that, "I have to go into the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. I would love to have an EGOT. I want to be the biggest, most influential artist. That's my ultimate goal. The next artist in 2035 is going to say Cordae inspired him." Once again, Cordae finds himself struggling to keep up with the expectation, as while he is delivering on helping the next generation, he hasn't really provided anything to the world of hip-hop that would support his case for being seen as influential in a musical sense. And while his philanthropic work is to be admired, it is no match for an album that truly shakes the culture. Nor is it a persona that fans of the modern generation, rightly or wrongly, are known to really get behind. In many ways, Cordae is and should be aspirational.
I ain't gonna lie, I might have to steal that. Bro. I'm not gonna lie, I might have to, bro.
The owner of his own label that is 100% his, just at 25, the MC has secured his future in a way that rappers that are way more successful than him didn't have the foresight to. But while this is something that older heads would point to as an example of how to conduct yourself, the way that he puts it across has left him seen as a sensible man in an era of recklessness.
Them dunks was like 4 bands. Man, you can take them joints off. That's like an 05 Honda for real.
From discussing how he used his first deal to get his brother out of jail on The Parables, to ruling out the possibility of getting tattoos as he didn't want to get something permanent on my body and I'm like a completely different person 5 years from now, Cordae is the polar opposite of the rappers that dominate both the charts and the youth culture today. And while this may be a drawback in terms of his overall upside potential, it's something that Cordae should be mindful of. Rather than making concessions to them in the name of mass appeal or trying to do too many things at once as he did on The Lost Boy, he should simply focus on being the best version of himself available. After all, this is a man that told academics that he uses the skepticism of those who say he hasn't proven himself or that he's corny as fuel to his fire.
I always try to see things from the other perspective, you know? So I'm like, man, I can't even be mad at for that. It just adds battery to my backs, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love this music, bro. I love it. I'm a psycho about this. When I'm already, like, in there at 4 in the morning, like, nah, we ain't here till the sun come up. So, I appreciate it, for sure.
Whether or not he'll ever find the sound that distinguishes himself from everyone else and give him the chance to become the Hall of Famer that he wants to be, the fact remains that, for now, the perception of what he should be, based on not only his own proclamations, but the caliber of artists that co-sign him, remains incompatible with what Cordae actually is at the moment. As while both his talents and business brains are clear to see, what many fans are still waiting for is that thing which makes him special and validates the buzz that he's received. Considering that he's aiming for a 20-year career minimum, it looks like all of his haters may have to get used to Cordae's presence in the game. And should he find that defining characteristic that sets him apart, there's every chance that he might be able to convert them and avoid being seen as another Logic or Chance. But he really can't leave it too late.
Listen, one thing I do gotta say, what the fuck? Why does it do this? One thing I do gotta say is I feel like he's gonna have like a Young Thug type of career. Because remember when Young Thug first came out, all his albums flopped. Nobody really messed with Thug. He was just one of the mumble rappers that nobody really messed with. But now look at him. He's one of the hottest rappers right now. Like, everybody looks up to him. He's like a mentor to all these rappers and all of that. Like, all I'm gonna say is, like, I feel like if he keeps going, he'll find what everybody's claims that he don't have, he's gonna find it. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna find that he's gonna come into more of himself. And he's not like he just said, he's not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? He's not letting up. He keeps going. He's not letting up at all. He's doing what he gotta do, and he's putting in that grind. He's not letting up, bro. That's what I feel. But hope y'all enjoyed that video. If y'all enjoyed that video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy Sway. We out here.